Hello, everyone, and welcome to this excerpt of the Threatened Ganglia Vodcast for episode 9. This particular excerpt only talks about Captain Lorca and how we don't think that he is from this universe. There's another excerpt that talks about Voke and all the various theories with him. And there's also the entire vodcast where you can hear all our views on this last episode. And we are also in podcast form. You can find that if you search on Star Trek Discovery in your podcast or Corpulent Geek. Thanks. Bye. The theory that I'm going to jump in and discuss now is the theory that's going around that Captain Gabriel Lorca, that we have been seeing on this show, is not the Gabriel Lorca from our universe. That he is an alternate reality, most likely maybe even the Mirror Mirror universe Lorca. Of course, the lesser theories with Lorca, everyone knows that something is up with Lorca. He's not the usual Starfleet captain. A lot of it could just be PTSD, or I hear the new phrase is PTSS because it's a syndrome and not a disorder. So I don't mean to offend anyone if I say PTSD at some point.
It was PTSD for a long time.
Yeah.
And we should just all go back to calling it shell shock.
Didn't she even use it didn't the
she
Admiral?
said PTSD.
Yeah, she said. All right,
so I don't. Maybe they haven't.
So I'm just being canon to the show.
Being canon.
So there's some people that are saying that he's merely suffering from that, having his ship blown up and him having to kill all the people that he was commanded before. There's also a big camp that Lorca's just an asshole and he does what he wants, and he wants to kill as many Klingons as he can and be on the coolest ship, which, hey, then he's just one of those characters that we've seen in Star Trek before, but they're not one of the ones that we would normally follow around and wouldn't be the weekly focus. But I really do believe that he is from the Mirror Universe. So how did he get here, you might say? Because we don't have any knowledge of anything that happened that would bring him through. Oh, but we do. We know that his ship was destroyed in a battle at some point, and much like the Enterprise C, how the Enterprise C, yesterday's Enterprise? Was it yesterday's Enterprise? Really? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yesterday's Enterprise came through from the destruction and all the weapons going off, and it got pushed through. Granted, that one got pushed through time, but who the hell can't say that you can't push through dimensions too?
Dimensions, come on.
It's
all relative.
Yeah. Zing. And come on, really now, who hears of a captain being the only person that survives the destruction of his ship? And especially the Lorca that we know, I don't really see a way that he would escape and leave the rest of his crew to die. He would be there on the bridge. He would go down with the ship.
Yep.
Yeah. So
down on a blaze of glory.
I just don't see that. So now, if we're going under the assumption that yes, he is from the Mirror Universe, he has two objectives. One objective, and hopefully his main goal, is to get himself back home. And how's he going to do that? I don't know, maybe with this ship that can pierce dimensions. He hears about this ship that they're using that is kind of using some kind of new drive system that can blip you to different places. He figures, oh, maybe there's a chance of that. Hey, can I take on that science vessel? Oh, why do you want a science vessel? You're a big war guy and all. It's okay. I'm trying to expand my horizons. His second option that he can do while he's here is what he was most likely doing in the other universe, is trying to get as powerful as he possibly can here and amass as many followers and people loyal to him so he can secure his power base. And if you think about it, that's really what he's been doing with when he went out and he got rescued with Tyler, and then he brought Tyler into his circle and he brought Burnham into his circle. These are people that he can depend on. And when he went and rescued Sarek for Burnham, that was his way of ingratiating himself to them, and so forming a super bond of loyalty with them. And in other ways of getting more powerful here, he's got a super sciencey ship that can do that jumping shit. So that's pretty cool. And using that ship, he can become a war hero, which would make the general public like him. And yeah, that ship is just pretty awesome, and it's the crux of his reason what he's doing what he is now. And harkening back to what I like to term the Cornwell interlude, um, she called him psychotic at the end of that, like we all remember, and she should know she's a mental health specialist. Um, Everyone in that other timeline is a piece of shit, so that kind of falls into place. It's one thing that was mentioned just in passing when they started drinking, when he put the moves on her, and he didn't remember a specific time that she brought up that they killed off a bottle of whiskey together, and he just kind of glanced it off, and it went by. But that's another subtle little hint that the writers may be being cute about dropping, and like a teeny tiny breadcrumb out there, or it could just be he has a bad memory because he's all jacked up on PTSD. That sounded weird. But
Like
anyway,
the new drug the kids are doing.
yeah. And then, of course, there's the obvious non-rescue of Admiral Booty Call at the end of that episode. And sure, it made him look like he was trying to do the right thing by following orders, or at least not going off half-cocked to try and rescue her. But if Cornwell never came back, then all the better. And this episode, in my eyes, and Christina's too, because we were both commenting on it during the thing, he was at peak Lorca.
He had reached peak Lorca.
He really did. Because on the war hero power grab tip, he knows that if he's able to destroy that ship of the dead, it's going to go a long way to cementing his legacy over here. And he knows where the ship is, and he knows that it doesn't have any support ships with it. So it's a one-on-one fight. It's the most even thing he's going to be able to find, beyond having other ships with him, and no one ever wants to go anywhere with him because they just can't follow. And he foists upon his science team a job to complete in 3 hours that the best minds in the Federation have had at least a couple weeks here to try and work on. And and so you wouldn't really think that it would be a thing that they would be able to accomplish. But since he's gotten people that are so loyal to him, and also something I'm about to mention in a second, well, in fact, I'm going to jump right into it right now. Every other time Lorca has gone against orders from Starfleet, he's been in his ready room talking with that admiral in private and saying like, no, you know what? I think I'm going to go rescue Sarek. Who cares? Boop. And he plucks out the card, which was a good call, by the way. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, that when he went to rescue Sarek, he did pull out a card like they used to have in the original series. They would pop little cards in when they were doing stuff. But
3 1/4, right?
yeah. But I don't want to get too far off the thing. So all the other times he was always in the ready room. This time, when he's talking with the admiral, he knows that the admiral's going to order him back. The admiral's not going to want to risk the spore drive getting destroyed by the Klingons. So since he knows he's going to get ordered back, and Lorca doesn't want to go back, Lorca has this discussion on his bridge in front of full view of all his bridge crew, and he's making an impassioned defense for the Pavans and saying it's not right. We're not going to let these Klingons do this, kill these innocent beings. You don't want to order us back. But of course, the admiral puts his foot down, and Lorca tells him
does
to.
he really? I do kind of feel a little bit like Admiral Vulcan was like, this guy's not going to do what I want him to do.
Well, yeah, because
And he's like, this is illogical, but whatever.
Well, he did what he had to do. What he could do. He gave him a direct order.
I feel like he was just kind of like, I got to put this down. I got to say this out loud.
Yeah, it could have been.
It's the logical thing to do to CYA.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's definitely that. There seems to be a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
So that was all theater for the bridge crew in my eyes, because that helped get them on board for this mission of defending the Pavans at the risk of getting blown up by the Klingons. And also, hey, if this found a way for them to be able to defeat the cloaking device, then he'd be the hero of the war, and that ups his cred big time. And then we move on to the expert job he did with Stamets in this episode.
Dude.
I mean, he played him like a fiddle marionette.
Yes.
It was ridiculous.
Did you just say a fiddle marionette?
A fiddle marionette. Yeah, you played someone like a fiddle and you control them like a marionette, and he did both at the same time.
All I can see is like one of those marionettes trying to play a fiddle. You know how the bow never sits on the fiddle, and they're like,
yeah. Well, if it works. So there were a great many different things at play. The first thing is that he exposed to Stamets that he had been collecting data on these multiverses, other universes, and maybe even time pockets and all. There was a lot of science in there. It kind of went over my head. But he showed them that all the great exploring they can do after this war is over. And he even got Stamets to say, Captain, I didn't know that you cared. And in my head, I just heard Nelson from The Simpsons. He got you to say it.
He doesn't.
And I am sure that now they explained that they had to go and put those 2 sensors on the ship to get these readings. And under normal circumstances, it would take 5 days to get enough readings for everything. And I'm like, that if they inverse a tachyon beam or 2 and maybe fly around the ship really quick, they could have had the same effect.
Tachyon beams was clearly the Next Generation.
Well, all right.
That was the answer for Next Generation.
Deflector dish? That was Next Generation
that
too.
That was a lot of Next Generation.
I'm not too up on original series stuff.
MacGuffins. I don't know what they did.
I think they always just dump more power into it. That's what Scotty always asked for.
I'm pretty sure they just called the engine room and was like, you got to get it done. And he was like, okay.
But anyway.
Schwartz into the reactor again.
Oh, no. All right, hold on. We're diverting from the thing there. Man, my theory's so much longer. It's just terrible.
But I saw your notes and I was like,
I'm sorry, but the more I thought about it, the more verbose I got.
The more I thought about it, I'm like, his topic is really... Because it... And I know that I'm moving to the side for a second, but not only is this character, I think, very well written. Again, some people I don't feel like get what's happening on the show, because clearly it's happening. The end of this episode showed us that it's
clearly
happening. But something is happening.
There's something unusual going on.
Something is up with him. And he does have motivations, and we're just not privy to them all, as I don't want to be. I want to be in the dark about some things.
Well, but there's a certain point that comes when you don't want to be in the dark anymore. And I think that they're getting perilously close to tipping that. Like there needs to be some reveals quickly on the backside of this.
Yes. Oh gosh, excuse me.
Oh, sorry everyone.
No, sorry, you're keeping me up.
Oh.
No, it's all good.
Wah, wah.
Two kids are hard people. I love Jason Isaacs in this role so much, and I said this the other night. I thought when I heard his announcement as being on the show, I was like, because I've just watched him for years be
bad guy. Super bad guy.
Be Malfoy, be Lucius Malfoy, and then before that, it was in The Patriot. It was like all I knew of him was British bad guy, like British evil guy. So I didn't know what to expect, and he came on screen. He's got this wonderful American accent, and he just blends. He blends into this role, and I think he does that in a lot of his roles. And I just didn't really notice until. Not only did I see him in this one, but then, went and looked up other stuff he's been in. It's like I didn't even realize he was in it, because he's one of those actors.
Yeah.
He just becomes it. He embodies it, and he is doing a phenomenal job. And that's why I think it's fascinating, and I am on the edge of my seat to find out what happens next. But yeah, he is the master manipulator, and it's like every time we saw something happen, someone talking to him, and especially when they tell him something, they reveal something about what they're thinking. It's like, no, don't do that. But I won't go farther because it's going to lead into your theory.
Yeah. So getting back to Stamets being played like a fiddle marionette, they could have. I'm confident that they could have figured out another different way beyond doing 133 jumps to figure all this out, but Lorca needed the data from all those jumps to be able to help him find a way back to his own dimension, universe, whatever you want to call it. Yep. So that's why I really feel that he found a way to make that happen during those jumps. Mm-hmm. Now, at the end of the episode, after the dramatic conclusion, Lorca knows that there's a chance when he gets back to the starbase that Admiral Vulcan and Admiral Booty Call are there, and they're going to take away his ship. What should I do? I know. One more jump. but my navigator almost died. How can I dupe this sucker? Hey, Mr. Science Dude, do you want a shiny medal? Yeah, we'll give you some honors. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And I know, I'll use the words opened up endless possibilities of exploration. Yeah, he'll buy that. Oh, what's that? I got him. I got him. He agreed to do this last jump? Yes. I know. Oh, he says this is the last jump. So my initial plan of just jumping us somewhere far away and studying this thing won't fly. So I guess I got to risk it all, and we need to override the last jump set to go to Starbase 46, and instead go to the unknown. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I've got graphics later on when we're talking about the episode about how he overrode the last jump. But so
when Stamets told him this is the last one, I'm done, it was like, no.
He told him that he turned around and they were walking out. I don't know if you remember what we said. I screamed, Lorca's going to shoot you in the back. Don't do it.
Metaphorically, but with your brain.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
I mean, just as soon as he said it, and you could just tell he had, like, Stamets had just reached that place of resolution that no character should ever reach.
Yeah.
Like, because once you look, and then he went back and he that tender embrace that we had seen in a picture before the episode came out between him and Space Boo, and
Space Boo,
Dr. Culber. And then me and every other rent nerd in the world went, when he said, I'm going to take you to La Boheme, because Anthony Rapp and I cannot remember Dr. Culber's actor's name.
Wilson Cruz,
I believe. They both had roles, but Anthony Rapp originated one of the lead roles.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all were like, that's awesome. And then explained it to the non-Broadway people. And like, as soon as they reached that wonderful, this is going to be our denouement, it was like,
Yeah. Not only did he tell Lorca in the shuttle bay, that shuttle bay shot, by the way, was awesome. When they were sitting there discussing it, that view out the doors.
Yeah, that was good.
He told Lorca that, hey, this is going to be my last jump. A few seconds later, we see him go into where the spore drive is and tell Space Boo. All the way walking through the halls of the thing, every single person he passed by, he said, hey, we're going to do one more jump. Hey, one more jump. The guy that's jogging down the hallway, that like they have joggers down the hallway in every episode. On your left, one more jump. So,
last jump,
right.
Last jump.
So
he sang on his way to the chamber.
So there's one more thing. I think I laid out all the different reasons why I think that Lorca is from the alternate universe, and I know that we're going along with this, so I'll try and hit this one really quick, because this one is really me reaching really, really far for something. But I think that there's a good chance of something being there. There's definitely something there with Burnham and Lorca, and Burnham is important to Lorca in some way beyond just having a good crew member on his ship. But we're not 100% sure exactly what it is. And it's odd because he goes through a lot to get her onto the ship. He reroutes that shuttle. He gets it onto the ship, and he gets a mission run while she's supposed to be there, and the like shuttle's getting retrofitted or whatever. So he runs her on that mission to the Glen to try and test her out to see if she's really like everything that he's heard of her, and if she's worth the trouble of trying to get onto the crew. And she passes that with flying colors.
I also would posit that was also something to convince the other crew members that she was there for a reason that they knew of. Because if he had just like squirreled her away and was like, I just, we're just gonna keep her, it's just it'll be fine, she's just here on the ship now, being the mutineer, I don't think that really would have flown. Like, it obviously wasn't going to fly with Saru.
That's good, because that's not something I thought of.
Yeah, well, I think that goes into his manipulation of not just, one-on-one, but an entire population. He had to show that this is why I kept her, because she's going to help us figure out this spore drive. She's going to help us, get this research completed. Whereas we know pretty sure it's something else.
And he has definitely demonstrated planning things ahead, because this past week when he, as soon as he signed off with the Admiral and told his crew that, hey, yeah, don't worry, we're going back at warp, we're going back slow, so we have time to try and figure out something to do. He like immediately turns to Stamets and says, hey, wooden shoe sabotage, you can't work right, figure out a reason. He so immediately turned to him and said that it was that he knew he had a checklist of stuff in his head.
Exactly. Like, it was just like, okay, lie to Admiral, check. Give impassioned speech, check.
Yeah.
Tell Stamets I need a paper trail, check.
Yeah. There was no need for Stamets to be on the bridge during that scene. Like any other show, any other continuity thing, they would have had that discussion on the bridge, and then the captain would have sauntered down to Spore Drive Central and talked to Stamets and been like, hey, listen, I need your help with this, because we really got to do this. But by condensing it, by having them all there, it not only helped move the show along speedily, it also showed how quickly he was thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we're stepping back there again. Oh, Burnham is definitely something important to him, and super important, because when they went on the Nebula shuttle ride mission to rescue Sarek, Lorca threatened Tyler, basically saying that, hey, if you can't come back with her, you probably shouldn't bother coming back at all. So that was a little bit weird. And then, based on the fact that he didn't want her to go to the Klingon ship in this episode, you might wonder, why did he let her go to Pavo on that mission? Well, that planet, Pavo, was uninhabited as far as they knew, and he was sending along with her the ship's security chief and the universe's second best warrior. I'm the first best, in case you were wondering. So he felt pretty safe that she was going to be okay, but a ship full of Klingons, while it's cloaked and we're going to be shooting at it, I don't think that's going to... That's probably not going to fly.
I just realized I'm surprised there weren't more consequences for Saru for like donkey punching her or donkey kicking her in the chest.
Yeah, I'm still torn up about that, and I'm sure at some point during this break I'm going to put my thoughts together on that. But I really don't see how he can continue to serve with them, seeing that he's been willing to do that. I don't know if he had enough of a mea culpa at the end of that, but all right, we can't get distracted. We gotta stay on target. Yeah. All right. So now all of that, now that he is seeing light at the end of the tunnel for getting home, a possibility of a way for him to get home with his spore drive, and hey, if we're able to do these 133 jumps, I should have enough data to be able to do what I need to do. I think that she is super important to him in the alternate universe. And I've got 4 things to think about. We know that in the true mirror universe, humans are power hungry and they're super aggressive, which is something that Lorca has already demonstrated.
Check and check.
We know that in the mirror universe, murder and assassination is the way to rise your status in the Terran Empire, at least, where like the Enterprise was from, and wherever Lorca serves would be from. We know that here in this Prime universe, Michael killed Sokovia, and we also know that in the Prime universe here, a viable way of moving up in the Klingon command structure is to kill your superior officer. So I think that there's a chance that Michael Burnham is at least an important part of, or quite possibly, the leader of the Klingon Empire in the mirror universe. There, I said it.
What?
Yep.
What?
It could happen. It could be true.
That sounds crazy.
It does not sound any crazier than Hoshi being in charge of the friggin' Enterprise at the end of those ones. Okay? When I saw that happen, I was like, this show is done to me.
Dead.
Yeah.
Dead to me.
But now, granted, it doesn't make much sense, especially with how the Klingons roll, like Klingons for Klingons, yay. It doesn't make any sense how a human would be in charge of them. But, weird shit happens. But there's definitely something important to Michael Burnham in the alternate universe. I just took it to the extreme, like I tend to do with things sometimes.
I've been this that you had shared that theory with me like 2 days ago or a day ago, and so I'm still ruminating on it. I'm seeing some other people posit other questions like, was Lorca from our universe, and then the Prime universe, and we've actually been watching the Mirror universe this whole time, but that doesn't feel right, especially because one of the admirals that we've come to be close to was a psychologist.
Oh, you mean the whole Mirror?
Yeah,
Okay.
that we've been watching the Mirror universe, which I don't feel like it doesn't feel right. But I've been trying to figure out like what possible role could Burnham have, and the only other things like I've been thinking about what makes her so special in our Prime universe, which is she was raised on Vulcan. She had that connection with Sarek. I don't know if the Vulcans have become part of the Terran Empire, because in the original series, I mean, clearly Spock was on.
Yeah.
Evil Spock was evil Spock. Was on the Enterprise, so the Vulcans had been integrated in some fashion.
Yeah, you read one of the Mirror books in Next Generation time, right?
Yes.
Was the Vulcan Empire, were the Vulcans like one of the subjugated species? That look.
Ask me a question.
Nah, all right.
No
All right, that's some research for the hiatus. Anyway, all right. So I think that we've delved enough into those deep, dark theories. Please, however you're consuming this bit of content, send us information. Adam, Christina, you're crazy because XYZ. 1, 2, 3. I think they're all Mirror Universe. Don't send us I hate this show because it's not real Star Trek.
No.
We don't care about those.
You can just...
We only go through the effort of talking about these things that we like and enjoy and want to share more with more people.
Yes.